Hello and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me as always is...
Phil Parrish.
Hey Phil, glad to have you here with me as we talk about all the things in the universe of comic books and related media right now. Okay, so what is... I don't want to say it's the big news, because I don't really think it's that big of news. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Hallie Atwell just signed on for a new project called... what is it? I think it's called Conviction. It's a legal drama on ABC. And everyone is saying that this is basically the end of Agent Carter. I think that's a bit of an over-exaggeration, quite frankly. Obviously, if she's in another full-time TV series, it's going to be harder for her to do Agent Carter. But given that Agent Carter is just it's not like it's its own ongoing series right now. It is a mid-season replacement. It's 8 episodes, here and there, or 9 episodes, or however many episodes it is. But it's in an abbreviated season. I don't think it's going to be impossible for her to do both. I mean, that's even assuming the next series actually has legs and sticks around. Quite frankly, everyone was saying, with Blind Spot, we're not going to have Lady Sif anymore. And it's like, no, I think that she can do both. First off, Lady Sif doesn't take that much time. And, who knows how much longer Blind Spot's going to be out there. Still haven't watched an episode. And I love Jamie Alexander. And it's like... At a certain point, it's just too much media. I can't watch it all. But anyway, so I'm not so worried about this, but it does make me wonder if this is our last Agent Carter, what would be great to replace it? And of course, the thing that jumps immediately to my mind is doing a 1950s Avengers series. Now, you can do it with Jimmy Woo. That's, of course, would be the comic booky thing, is you get Jimmy Woo, Gorilla Man, Venus, the whole gang, and they have to introduce them. But I was thinking, you don't even need to do that, because depending on how they end the end of this season, you can do an almost villainous Avengers, a dark Avengers, if you will, with Dottie Underwood, Madam Mask, Wilkes, whatever he can become, the Intangible Man. Add in another character or two, and you can really have a neat little team of Golden Age heroes here. And I think that would be a pretty awesome thing. And here, so here's my premise for it. So at the end of this season, you've got however it ends, and you have Howard Stark realizing that the guys in the Arena Club are too dangerous, that they're going to keep on causing problems, and someone needs to do something about it. And so he recruits a couple of a few outliers, we'll call them, maybe Madam Mask, maybe James Wilk, definitely Dottie Underwood, and say, because, and this is my thing with Dottie Underwood on this, Dottie Underwood wants to be the hero. As she said, I want to be an SSR agent. Maybe next time I'll be an SSR agent. I can reimagine myself as anything in this world, in America, and isn't that grand? And the idea of bringing in a Dottie Underwood to be if Hallie Atwell can't be the core of Agent Carter anymore, having Dottie Underwood as the core of Agent Carter, or the next series that we're going to have, our Avengers 1950s series, that would be pretty awesome. What do you think, Phil?
Well, yeah, I think if you can't do Agent Carter and you want to do a period piece like that, that would make a lot of sense. But like you said, I thought about it at first. I was like, okay, maybe they're canceling Agent Carter, but then I came to the conclusion I think you came to that, again, it's only 8 episodes per season, so it's not like she's doing 23 episodes of one show, and she's going to try to do that. So, I could see it, but...
Yeah, and then let's not forget we do have Marvel's Most Wanted, and we still don't know how that's going to be, if that's going to be an ongoing series or if that's going to be basically next season's replacement for Agent Carter,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the thing. And now, of course, what could be interesting in that is we know we're having Dominic Fortune as a character in that. And so maybe we're actually going to get some alterations between this Golden Age team of a Dottie Underwood and a Golden Age Dominic Fortune and, whomever. And, tracking down these ancient threats that are no longer under control now that S.H.I.E.L.D. has sort of gone the way of the dodo with since Winter Soldier, and goodness knows what happens after a Civil War. Yeah, so I mean, it's very, there's a lot of possibilities they can do here. We really have no idea what they're going to do next, but there's a lot of possibilities. And it would be nice to see something. Moving on into, of course, like I think the big news coming out right now is that what's coming out? Didn't something come out like yesterday or today? Right? Something, some little art film came out today, didn't it?
Yeah, and I guess it's doing okay business.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, Deadpool just premiered. I know that myself and Phil both plan on seeing it tomorrow. And we're going to discuss it with the grand dame of Southgate Media, Lilith Hellfire, tomorrow night, and that's going to be fun. But right now, since neither one of us has seen it, we can do some wild speculations about it. Yes.
I was going to say, well, no, just like I told you before, Lilith said she saw it and she liked it. She thinks it's hilarious, and she's a harsh critic, so if there was a problem, she would have said it, especially when we weren't recording, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, and my big thing with this is, do I let my kids see it? And but here's the thing, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm very European in my styling, Quite frankly, if the worst thing in this is Ryan Reynolds' Clem Hopper being shown on screen, my son has a Clem Hopper. He doesn't. I don't worry about him seeing a Clem Hopper. If it's that, there's women with boobies, he has seen breasts before. He is a child.
Yes, but I don't think it's just nudity. I think there's maybe sexual scenes.
Well, but this is my thing, and this is my thing. And sexual scenes, again, depending on what they are. If it's, I mean, if there is a lot of like Deadpool, having intercourse, then it's like, okay, that's a little more than I needed to see here. Mm-hmm. But if it's just, there's a naked person, there's a naked person, there's a naked person. And here's the thing I'm going to say. You need like 2 F-bombs and you've got an R. Yeah. You need one Clem Hopper and you've got an R. Okay? Mm-hmm. So quite frankly, it's an R film with just Ryan Reynolds saying, here's my Clem Hopper. And it could just be Pete's Dragon except for that, and it's still going to get an R because that's how ratings work in this country. Yeah,
but I think we're getting more than 2 F-bombs.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing, but that's the thing, F-bombs I don't worry about because my son knows he's not to say it in mixed company, but he has heard the word. And once you've heard the word, it's not like it's a big deal to hear it a second time. And as far as nudity, I don't want my son to be watching a freaking porno, but if it's just that, there's naked people on the screen, I'm not too worried about it. What really bugs me, and I actually made this point, is that this is what I've said. I felt worse, and this is why I won't take my kid to see a Fox Marvel film until I've seen it first. Because after Fantastic Four, I don't trust them to make a film that you can take your kids to. Because Fantastic Four was insanely, in addition to being just a bad film, got insanely violent. And it's insanely graphic with its violence. Mm-hmm. To the point where you're like, I don't need to watch people exploding, Yeah. I don't need Dr. Doom to be freaking Dr. Manhattan, And it's like, that's a little, first off, okay, Dr. Manhattan already did that shtick. And second off, that's not what Dr. Doom does. And third off, it's just too dang graphic and violent. And, if I'm going to take my kids to see a Fantastic Four film, I want to see some tanks get smashed. I want to see the freaking thing drop from an airplane, which we didn't even freaking get. And I don't need to see people being eviscerated in this way. And it was just such a, in addition to, as I said, in addition to being just a bad film, it really deserves something way worse than a PG-13. If that had been R, I might have said, "Oh, okay, I'm going to go see that first. I'll see if that's even worth taking the kids to." Mm-hmm. But my kids, quite frankly, they saw the thing drop, and they were like, "Oh, we want to see that. We really want to see that. That looks so exciting." Yeah, it looked so exciting, kids. But that's the thing. So I'll go see this, and depending on what they do, like I say, I don't want my, because it's the violence that bugs me more. It's the violence and it's the scariness that bothers me much more than sex and language.
Well, I think we're gonna get a lot of violence here too.
Yeah, and to that extent, then I'm gonna say, it's not really not for you kids, and I don't see it.
Hey, I think,
but
remember, it's Deadpool. I think we're gonna get a ton of violence, and he's gonna make light of it. That's probably the other thing too.
Yeah, well, but you see. And it's sort of the ironic aspect of it. Making light of the violence kind of desensitizes. It's not as bad.
Yeah.
Because, of course, then it's cartoon violence. It's hitting someone on the head with a hammer. When Yosemite Sam gets blown up, we don't worry too much about it because it's Yosemite Sam getting blown up.
Yeah, but I mean, how cartoon is it? Like, say he shoots someone in the head, and you actually see like brain matter or blood or something like hit the wall. That's a little. If
that's what it is, then that's not appropriate for children.
Yeah.
But what it is I don't trust the MPAA. I don't trust the MPAA to have the same concerns that I have. Because my concern is violence, and historically the MPAA hasn't given a fig about violence.
Oh yeah, they're more about nudity, right?
Mm. Exactly, and it's like, well, nudity, and it's like a lot of people said when it came out, it's like, really, does Deadpool need to have nudity? Does Deadpool need to have F-bombs? I mean, Deadpool swears, but he just swears with spirally things, so. And honestly, like I've always said, I've always thought that it would be kind of almost more interesting with Deadpool to have him dealing with the strictures of the universe in which he existed. He knows he's fictional, but he still has to operate within the strictures of that universe. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the best thing, you want to do a PG-13 version of Deadpool, the running gag is he's trying to kill a dog, and he can't kill the dog because you can't kill a dog. And honestly, quite frankly, right there, that's how you're going to know this is going to be a good film, is if 5 minutes into it, Deadpool kills a dog. And he's going to say, "Hey, I told you this was this should be a scene in this film. Deadpool should shoot some dogs. Be like, ruff, 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 ruff. He should shoot the dog dead. You see the dog dead. Deadpool look at the camera and say, I told you all this is a rated R film. It's not for kids. Don't blame me." And then go about the rest of the film. That would make this film just the best dang film ever, and would bring home the fact that, hey, this isn't just, some random rules and morality. There actually is stuff that you don't want your kids to see here. And I could get in with that. But what it is going inside unseen, we don't know yet. And we don't really know where it's going to be. Because, and like I said, for what it's worth, my 6-year-old son loves slasher films. I love the kid. I made him, I can't pick what he likes. He likes superheroes, but his favorite superheroes were Venom, were Deadpool. and not Agent Venom. I mean, he's gotten behind Agent Venom, but he likes Eddie Brock. He loves Scorpion Venom. That's his favorite, with the tail and the claws and all the ichor dripping off the fangs. That's what he likes. He is a scary monster kid. He loves monsters. And
I just remember when I was little, like, watching horror movies and just, like, laughing at it, because I remember when I can't remember how young, I was pretty young, and my parents just said, yeah, all this stuff is fake. It's it's movie magic, so like anytime I saw anything after that, then I would just laugh at the horror movies because I'd be like, oh, that looks so fake. Oh, that's a rubber mask. That's all
yeah.
fake blood.
Yeah. But of course, when we were kids, it was a lot easier to say that's mask,
Yeah.
When you actually saw the zipper on Godzilla's costume, it was a little easier. But I mean, Tristan, he loves creepypastas.
Mm-hmm.
He loves them. He loves Slender Man. He loves reading about Jack the Killer. That's his favorite one. And it's and honestly, to me, it's like, really, Jack the Killer, Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer, he's so derivative. It's such a, his origin is not particularly well thought out, but he's very much into it. And he'll defend Jeff the Killer to me, and I'm like, there's so many better slasher characters out there. Really? Jeff the Killer? But he loves Jeff the Killer. And honestly, what he loves about it is because there's all the YouTubes out there, and there's like some great musical numbers with Jeff the Killer. Actually borrowing some stuff from My Chemical Romance that he liked, and actually one thing from the Jekyll and Hyde musical that he loved. And so my kids are actually they like actually really good music, and they set it with these characters from these creepypastas, and so my kids associate good music with these things. And so of course that's Tristan. Benjamin, my older kid, he is not into monsters at all. He's all Mario all the time, although he also, again, interesting, this is just my kids, he always liked the villains much better. He likes Bowser and all the Koopalings much more than Mario and Luigi. He doesn't like he likes the monsters. So but at least there it's like the cartoony monsters, which Tristan's like, no, it's the violent gore spewing Venom characters. But that's children for you. What are you gonna do? Yeah, but I'm gonna make the decision tomorrow. I probably will not take Tristan to see Deadpool, and I will say that right now. I will say I am going in. And again, because I saw what they gave me with freaking Fantastic Four, and it's like, I'm not gonna take my kid to see Deadpool if that's somehow worse than Fantastic Four. But if it winds up just being that, here's Ryan Reynolds, some kadiddle hopper, and here's some ladies' boobies, and here's some F-bombs, I'm like, it's not worth it to me if my kid really wants to see it, to fight him just because it's unless it's violence and gore at a level that I'm not comfortable with. And that's another thing. When Dr. Doom was killing people, it was all well, maybe not necessarily innocents. They were soldiers, but still, it was like, it wasn't cool the way the storyline outplayed with Fantastic Four. That was just such a bad movie on so many levels.
I know. I was gonna say, I don't want to take my kids just because it was so bad of a movie, but
yeah. Well, like I said, they really wanted to see it. I really loved Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
but
man.
I'm just glad I don't have to make the Deadpool call, because my son Lucas, he's only going to be 3 next month, so
yeah.
definitely know.
Yeah.
He's gonna stay with my parents for a couple hours, and me and Danielle are gonna go out. It's gonna be like a Valentine's Day date kind of. So
yeah, well, at 3, he's not even he's not even really aware of Deadpool.
No, he sees the commercials. It's the red guy it's the guy in the red suit. That's all he knows.
Yeah, and and if he sees it on FX a year from now, it's not gonna, because that's what I told my son. It's like, it'll be on FX. It's gonna be edited for television, and then you can watch it. Because at that point, it's edited for television, and I don't worry so much about it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've said before, anything my kids watch on TV, I watch with them. I actually try to be a very involved parent. Oh, yeah. I may be a very liberal parent on these kind of things, but I'm very involved. I make sure I know what they're watching. And then I know, okay, that's okay, and so I know what happens on Steven Universe, and I know what happens on most, on any of these shows, and I can make an assessment of, okay, is that a really an appropriate show? Pickle and Peanut gets right up to the edge on that. I don't know about that show sometimes, but it's just weird things they put on TV now. It's like so Dadaist nowadays, cartoons, and I'm like, really? It's
basically cartoons these days. That's where they're just like flashy and goofy, and it's like fart jokes, and
Yeah, but as I said on World's Finest with Starfire, Teen Titans Go. It's a lot of fart jokes and a lot of silliness and a lot of mad cappedness,
Mm-hmm.
but what I'll say is that Teen Titans Go far more surrealistic than Dadaist, and a lot of other things I think get a little too Dadaist. Surrealism I can get behind. Dadaism I've never been a part of. Although Lady Gaga, I can see her. She is honestly, I think she's a really advanced Dadaist to the point where it's not even really Dadaism. I mean, it's Dadaism in the sense that it is a level of absurdity to it, but I think there's much more structure to what Lady Gaga does than, say, what a lot of Dadaists did. I want to say Duchamp, of course, one of the, did The Fountain, which, is a Dadaist piece. It's like the most famous Dadaist piece, and is really kind of the joke is on you for calling it a Dadaist piece. But anyway, yes.
But we were talking about cartoons. Your sons are probably too old for this, but I don't know if you ever heard of it. There's a cartoon now on Disney Junior. Luca watches it sometimes. Like I said, he's going to be 3 next month. It's called PJ Masks. Have you ever heard of it?
Wait, what's it called?
PJ Masks.
PJ Masks. No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, like I said, it's on Disney Junior. It's a story of like 3 kid superheroes. They're like probably early elementary school, and the episodes are pretty basic. It's like the beginning of the episodes, them going to school or the playground, and something's been stolen, and they figure out it's one of 3 villains. So when night comes, they don their secret identities of Catboy, Gecko, and Owlette.
Mm.
And and then they basically have to battle of like I said, one of 3 villains to get whatever's been stolen back. Like there's Night Ninja and his Ninjalinos. There's Luna Girl, and then there's Romeo, who's like the mad scientist Lex Luthor type. But yeah, I mean, if you have really small kids, it's cute. It's like like preschool age. It's.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to get them exposed to superheroes early,
Oh, yeah.
You got to indoctrinate them when they're young. So, yeah, my kids love Superhero Squad. I probably like Superhero Squad more than them, but they like Superhero Squad. Although although he was upset, there was no Spider-Man, there was no Venom.
Yeah.
The ones he wanted weren't there.
Yeah, and like and you said you just watch like Hulk and the Agents of Smash and the Avengers Assemble cartoon, right? Yeah, we watched those. I kind of like the previous Avengers cartoon, the one that was like closer to the comic books.
Yeah, well, that pretty much universally everyone says, Avengers Assemble was a much, much better series, and I'm inclined to agree. Although I liked a lot of the things I really liked the Squadron Supreme storyline they did, and like I said, I gotta say, Peter Quill really pulls you out of Guardians of the Galaxy. The guy doing the voice pretty cool. They really make him too high pitched and whiny. He's got to go down an octave on that. He's got to get a little deeper in his voice and the way that he carries that character. He's got to be more heroic.
Well, he's the same guy who played Terry McGinnis in the Batman Beyond cartoon, where he was playing a teenager. I mean, so the voice kind of fits a teenager. Yeah.
But Terry McGinnis was way more mature than
I know.
That's the thing. I remember what was the one where he fights the Joker, and it's actually was it Jason? No, it wasn't Jason Todd.
It was it was Tim Drake. It was
Tim Drake. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the movie. It was the movie. It was Return of the Joker. Yeah.
Yeah, Return of the, which was a really great movie. I really enjoyed it, and I like the Tim Drake reference in it, and and just seeing Tim Drake as the old guy working, as a scientist. I forget exactly what he was doing. I want to say he was working like at a satellite dish farm or something, but he was doing something sciencey, and and just the way that he portrayed his own Batman and actually made this. I actually liked, that's a great scene when he's like talking to the Joker. It's like, and I really, it's like you want to get the thing out of Batman, but I'm not that Batman. I'm a different Batman, and and I'm going to play along with you, and I'm going to drive you nuts. And that was a really great aspect to that. And And of course, I loved when Harley did the reference on that. They had they had a bit with Harley because, of course, her granddaughters were like in the Joker gang.
Well, do you know there's two versions of that movie? There's like a regular version, and there's like what is it, unedited or uncensored version where and the only difference is for like the unedited one, I guess they thought the Joker's death scene, in the flashback was a little too violent, so they kind of changed that. But that was the only change.
Yeah, well, yeah. I've only seen the one version. I've only seen the one that they play on Cartoon Network.
It's not that much more. I mean, it's just him. They show you more of him getting like electrocuted as.
Oh, yeah. But speaking of Harley Quinn, we've got this is actually something that Black Nerd Comedy on YouTube brought up, which was just the fact that it's really awesome to see. I think that's who I'm referencing. I might re-reference that. It's really awesome to see the girl who's playing Harley Quinn in the movie. But it immediately makes you ask, why didn't they get Tara Strong for that role?
Oh, yeah.
Because Tara Strong is actually a very attractive young woman. She does voiceover, but she's actually a very attractive young woman. So she could pull off playing an actual Harley. And and here's the thing, it kind of ruined it a bit for me, because why didn't they just get Tara Strong to do the role? They got her doing the My Little Pony movie. Why not have her do this one? And of course, it may be that she just really didn't want to have to be in freaking short shorts and body paint for 8 hours a day, because of course it's not her Harley, and that I think is a thing. And I there were a couple memes out there recently. One was it was a Harley Quinn meme, and it's something like I used to be innocent, and it's Harley, and it's like Dr. Quinzel looking in the mirror, and it's Harley in the mirror, and it made me think, man, I miss when Harley wore pants,
Yes.
And that's and I don't have any problem with characters in revealing costumes. I really don't, and not from a lecherous way, but it doesn't bother me if someone decides to design a character where they're gonna, be mostly skin. It's like, okay, that's a choice you're gonna make, and there are arguable reasons why you do that. Even with female characters, there's a very real reason why you put them in skimpy outfits. If you want to actually analyze it, aside from just the lecherous aspect of it, there are more freedom of movement. And if you have to move quickly, it's better not to be weighed down by armor. If your skill is speed and if your skill is going to be based on speed and flexibility, then you don't want anything weighing you down. And also, it can be very distracting for the person you're fighting if you're not wearing anything, and they, it can make them underestimate you. There's a lot of arguments you can make about why lighter clothing is better for a female warrior than heavier clothing. Of course, in the end, it's all because of we want to look at half-naked people. Although I don't mind seeing half-naked men too, and I think you can make the same argument there, that when you have the big bear, when He-Man and his Masters of the Universe are in there, if you don't need to wear armor, why would you wear it? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You don't need armor. Why would you wear armor? It's just going to weigh you down. If you're actually pretty much bulletproof as you are, clothing is really kind of redundant. But He-Man and the Masters, I don't even know where we got to that, but I do miss Harley wearing pants, and I miss Harley that was a little bit more. I don't know. I guess I miss Tara Strong's Harley. I miss as Harley gets a little bit more into as Harley becomes more and more sexy Deadpool. I kind of missed what a certain thing that the original Harley kind of brought to the storyline, which was a little bit more, I think of a little more.
She was the Joker's sidekick, and like you said, that's my theory. Now that DC's trying to make her a sexy Deadpool, they wanted her to be their Deadpool.
Yeah, well, exactly. And hey, Deadpool's popular. There's no argument there. And I love all of the memes out there shipping Deadpool and Harley, and that's kind of cute. Even if he is a married man. But yeah, it's interesting. Although that was actually something I was thinking about. Suicide Squad coming up, which is whether or not Suicide Squad comes out after Dawn of Justice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and it makes me wonder if we're going to get an after credits Bruce Wayne scene at the end of Suicide Squad, much in the same way that you had the after credits Tony Stark scene at the end of Incredible Hulk. If that's going to be their first, if they are building this universe and they are building this connection, having Bruce Wayne be your Nick Fury makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Having Ben Affleck. I always get those two mixed up. I used to call him Matt Affleck all the time. Having Matt Affleck go in at the end of the movie and sort of, make a couple of lines and wink at the camera, I think is a pretty good thing. And I will be very disappointed if that doesn't happen at the end of Suicide Squad. I think that if you want to build a universe, having connective tissue is important. Just saying it's a connected universe, I don't think accomplishes it as much as having the connective tissue of what and that's really what the after credit scenes are about, is building connective tissue, about saying the thing you're going to see here is going to tie into something else. And speaking of connective tissue, have you seen the footage from Ragnarok?
No, I haven't. There's footage?
There is leaked footage. Apparently it was shown at some comic convention. And there's no audio or no sound with it. But yeah, it's the Warriors 3 in the middle of a battle, and there is David Banner battling along with them. And then Banner, you get the eye glow, and he turns into the Hulk. We don't get to see the Hulk, but we see that for whatever's going on, Banner is in the Nine Realms with the Warriors 3, and he's going to become the Hulk in some sort of a battle sequence. So that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about Ragnarok. I'd really like to see where they go with it. People, and this was actually one of the things. So there's been a lot of talk, and going into that, there's talk about death in Ragnarok, and right now people are saying most likely Idris Elba, Heimdall's going to die in Ragnarok, because they're saying that this is the rumor that Hela storms the gates of Asgard, and of course the guy at the gates of Asgard is Heimdall, so Heimdall falls. Possible. Why he didn't see that coming, I don't know, but there we go. But the other question is, there's a lot of talk about who's going to die in Civil War, and people thought, well, would it be Rhodey? And I dismiss Rhodey because I think Rhodey is going to come back in Iron Man 4 as Iron Man. I think they're going to do an Iron Man 4, and it's going to be the idea of Rhodey putting on the Iron Man armor, that Tony's going to give him the armor and say, you be Iron Man now, because I just can't. It's too expensive. But I do think Rhodey's going to be in that Iron Man role. I mean, I think Robert Downey Jr. is still going to be in it, but I think they're going to have Rhodey take on the Iron Man and be his own Iron Man kind of concept, much as they did the first time they had one of the characters take over the icon back in the 1980s. For 2 years, longer than Sam is getting it. Rhodey got to be Iron Man for 2 years, and so that's my prediction. So I don't think it's going to be Rhodey. I think your real possibilities are the Scarlet Witch. I think Scarlet Witch is the most likely one because they killed Quicksilver, and the idea that they killed. Yeah,
are they going to bring her in and then kill her off like a movie or two later, though?
Well, what the idea is that they killed Quicksilver because, all things being equal, even though Marvel says they have the rights and Disney says they have the rights, Fox could fight them on it more if Fox felt that it was hurting them, you know. So the idea is that they have the rights, but if they work the character out and then kill the character off, it works out in their favor. You know, I mean that basically they use them for a couple of episodes and then they kill the character off. It doesn't hurt anything in the long run. So that's the big argument for why it might be Scarlet Witch. I don't necessarily think it's going to be Scarlet Witch. Who I really think, and this is what I'm going to say right now, the person who dies in Civil War, it's not Cap, it's not Scarlet Witch, it's Bucky. And do you know why it's Bucky?
Why?
Because in the trailer, we see a scene, and it's a very big scene because everyone really likes it, because we see Tony like has a watch and it turns into an Iron Man gauntlet, and he like grabs the gun as Bucky pulls the trigger, and you see this look on Tony's face where it's like, you were going to shoot me in the head, you were going to kill me just now. Mm-hmm. That if I didn't have an Iron Man gauntlet right now, I would be dead. And it makes this point that as much as Cap wants to save Bucky, Bucky's too far gone. Bucky is the murderer. And yeah, they played with his mind and they made him murder the people they want, but he was already a murderer. Yeah, he was already a guy who had been beaten down. And so I think here's my prediction. Cap kills Bucky.
Oh, really? I was going to say, do you think I was thinking maybe Tony kills him, or it's some kind of accident and Steve blames Tony, and then that like breaks up the Avengers until like Infinity War, when they're all like, okay, the planet's in danger, I still don't like you, I still don't trust you, but we have to all band together to stop Thanos.
No, I'm thinking Cap kills Bucky, because Bucky can't be controlled, and he can't save everyone, and he has to go, and then Cap basically, he gets arrested.
Oh, okay.
And we do a whole Return of the Jedi thing, where the end of it is Cap's in jail. Tony is, despondent, which is why maybe he gives which again, maybe that's why he gives what's his name, the armor. Gives Rhodey the armor, says, "You be Iron Man. I can't even be in this, because you be Iron Man, and Vision and the Scarlet Witch maybe fly off somewhere." Falcon sort of left being. I'm so sorry. Do you think if they put Steve in prison, will they let Sam Wilson be Captain America for a while? Maybe. Well, I mean, I don't know what for a while means. Because it's going to be like it's going to be a while before we get to the next film. So,
well, that's what I'm saying.
The next film is Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Yeah, like Doctor Strange, or even the next Ant-Man. Sam could pop up as Captain America. Basically until they spring Steve from jail in Infinity War.
Anything's possible. I'm not thinking that far ahead right now. I'm just sort of framing where I think we might go with it, because we also got Ragnarok to go through and everything like that. But my thinking is so you have, and of course this is my thing, is I think that there's going to be an evil behind the scenes, and my thinking is the evil behind the scenes is Hammer and Norman Osborn, or some Norman Osborn surrogate, some guy who's going to raise Hammer up. Sort of basically, within the context, like I said, this is the Return of the Jedi film. This is Hydra triumphant, is my thinking at the end of Civil War.
What about a disguised Red Skull?
Could be Del Rusk, He could be out there, although, people have said that the Red Skull most likely went into space, so who knows, maybe he'll show up in Guardians of the Galaxy. Which would be interesting, that, they're going to do some, because they say Thanos isn't in it. Thanos isn't in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. That, and wouldn't it be interesting if the big bad in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 winds up being the Red Skull? Except I don't think we're going to get the guy who played Red Skull back, because he was like, no, I'm done. I did my comic book superhero villain thing. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, but I don't think I want to. I don't want to make superhero villain films for the rest of my life, And the Red Skull, it's a rough one to do, because you got to do the whole makeup thing, and it's rough. I totally see that. So, Yeah, that was Hugo Weaving was the Red Skull, correct?
Yes.
Hugo Weaving, yeah. So he suggested that it's not something that he is inclined to do, although they may have him under contract. So who knows, you know? And if they give him a good enough role for the Red Skull, he might say, "Yeah, absolutely, I'm down for it." You know, it will be interesting, whatever it is they do. But yeah, but that's my prediction, because it's been my prediction for a while that you're at the end of my prediction for Civil War is that it ends darkly. I don't think they kill Cap, because that's what everyone's expecting. And this is something I've said repeatedly about Agent Carter and everything else. When they name it this, people make all these assumptions. People made all these assumptions about what Madame Mask was going to be, and they gave us something completely different. Mm-hmm. And that's awesome. They use these things as a jumping off point, but then they go and tell a different story so that you don't know what to expect. Because that's what's exciting, is not knowing what to expect next. And so, yes, I don't think Cap dies. I am 98% sure Cap lives. I'm 50% sure that Bucky dies, and I'm 43% sure that Cap kills Bucky if Bucky dies. I don't think Grillo kills it. I don't think Grillo kills anybody, quite frankly. I think Grillo, well, and of course Grillo, who's Grillo ever killed? He didn't even kill Cap, that was actually Sharon Carter. How Sharon Carter fits into it might be interesting. Of course, we don't even know if that's Sharon Carter. I mean, that's another thing that's kind of interesting is, Peggy Carter's brother died in the last episode of Agent Carter. At least, presumably, seemingly died. And if he's dead, then how does Peggy get a niece to be Sharon Carter? So it's so she may not be Sharon Carter. We know she's Sharon, but she may not be Sharon Carter. She's Agent 13, but she may not be Agent 13 related to Peggy Carter. So that's an interesting dynamic that we really don't have anything to go on. And we know what people will assume, what people will expect, but we can already see how they're subverting those expectations. And that's what's great about, that is in general what's great about the MCU, is that you start out with the premise and you go on with understanding of the premise, and they're going to give you a little bit of fan service, but they're not going to give you so much fan service that you know what's going to happen next. You never know what's going to happen next. And what they're going to give you is be something different. And up until now, it's usually played out pretty good. I've usually been pretty pleased by the things that have happened. Mm-hmm. But that's me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Anything else to talk about this week, Phil?
No, I think we pretty much did everything.
Anything stuck in your mind? Yeah, I think we've got everything except for the fact that Marvel makes too many books, and Marvel stopped the Fantastic Four, which we talked about in All New Marvel Roundup. And so I'm on the bubble with you, Marvel. We might start getting some DC books on our pull list again, because I'm like, why bother? Why bother? Okay. But if they bring back the Fantastic Four led by Dr. Doom, I'm all back up in that. So, balls in your court, Marvel. You gave us a Dr. Doom who wants to be a good guy. You got no Fantastic Four in this world. Maybe Dr. Doom says, would be a smart thing for me to do? Have a Fantastic Four. Or the superior Fantastic Four. Or I can't think of a word for four that starts with S to be superior. But yeah, the awesome foursome. I don't know.
Like Charlie Esser rated people.
Yes. I'm available, Marvel. I'll even do it on spec. I'm happy to. Yeah, hey, if you would like to talk to me about my crazy ideas, if you would like to berate me for my crazy ideas, if you would like to ridicule me for my crazy ideas, you can do so by writing me at the old-fashioned email at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. And I am tweeting like a madman now, along with television programming, the one Marvel show, Agent Carter, and again we'll do it with Marvel's Most Wanted and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they come back. But I'm tweeting also Legends of Tomorrow, and I'm tweeting with Supergirl. It's all a lot of fun. So tweet along with me, and you can do that at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. And Phil, if they would like to commiserate with you about having to put up with me every week, where can they do that?
If you want to get a hold of me and tell me why Charlie Esser should be writing a new Doctor Doom-led Fantastic Four, you can email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. I'm usually live tweeting Monday through Thursday. And if you want to find all my podcasts and blogs in one easy spot, check out my new website, philparich.wordpress.com.
Awesome. That's it. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for connecting with us this week. Connect with us again. Good night.